Right, so this is a Wacker plate I've purchased, unknown starting issue. It's a Wacker, it's got a Honda GX 160 engine on it, which is pretty bulletproof. So yeah, it's not exactly best conditions. You can see the sticker that's usually here to tell you it's GX or a Honda engine is not there, but that number there on the block, that is basically, if you Google that, it comes back as a GX 160 Honda engine. That's like the model number essentially it's known as. I think they do two of them in this type. So it's been left with fuel in it. It's been sat for years apparently. I say years, a few years. It was working before it got put away. The guy bought it off, literally pulled it out, turned the fuel on, turned it over, and nothing happened. So it's got some compression on it, so hopefully the engine is good itself. Like I said, a lot of people I spoke to about these say that they're pretty bulletproof. So a few things we're going to check first. One is the oil level. They've got a switch or a sensor in them that cuts off when the oil is low. So we'll check that. Got a carburetor on the way for it. Got a service kit as well, which just consists of spark plug, air filter, and some Honda oil. Right, we'll put that in there. I've dipped the oil. It does look pretty clean, to be fair. It's showing on the dipstick, so I don't think it's low oil. That's the reason why it's not starting. I expect the carb is gunked up. Let's see if I can show you this. And you can see oil doesn't look too bad. It's relatively clean. So I think before we go changing oil, we'll try and get this running on this original oil before we waste too much time with it. First thing I'm going to do is obviously check the oil, which we've done. Try and pull the fuel out of it, put some fresh fuel in there, take the carburetor apart, and we'll just see what sort of condition that is. It could just be gunked up, might just need jets blowing out on there. We'll check for spark, pull it over basically and see what happens. If none of them work, I've got a compression tester which we'll chuck on it and just check to make sure there is compression in the engine. But fingers crossed, hopefully it's something relatively simple. The on-off switches can be an issue on these as well, so all relatively cheap bits to do. Try and buy genuine Honda parts as best I can, but if I put a new piston and ring and all that kind of stuff in it, then I'll just get, I'm not getting genuine bits because it won't be worth it. I might as well just go out and buy one that's running. Yeah, I'll come back soon. Right, cut back in here. So took the fuel tank off. We've got the majority of the fuel out of there. We've got a percentage of the fuel in there. I've got a feeling they've put fresh fuel in it because it didn't smell too bad. I don't know whether the camera can focus, but you can see the little tank filter there. That's relatively clean. Nothing in there blocking that. So someone did say that this cap could actually be the problem, where it sort of sucks. It should have a vent on it. It should allow air to pass, and if they don't, it can starve the fuel, because the fuel obviously will stay sort of vacuumed as such. I went to go and take the carb off, but I undid the bottom drain plug to see if there's any fuel passing through, and there's plenty of fuel coming through it, so I'm a little bit, we'll wait and see on that. What I'm going to do next is take the spark plug out, just cleaned up around the area. Yeah, just cleaned up around that area to take that out. I've got the bit here somewhere. There it is. So we just pull that out. What we'll do is we'll put the lead back on, and we'll crank it over, and we'll just see how much of a spark we're getting. Hopefully that's not the issue. I have pulled it over a few times, and yeah, it's not really firing. You can smell plenty of fuel, so I don't know. The oil, I put a little bit in, don't think it really needed it, so I don't think that was the issue. We have got, as you can see here, not sure if this is fuel. Yeah, it's probably fuel from where I just pulled the tank out. There's a bit of water and a little bit of oil in there, so nothing that shouldn't really stop it from starting. But I'm going to get the spark plug pulled out anyway. We'll see what kind of spark we've got, just make sure we've got spark, as we're wasting our time. If we've got spark, then we'll put some fresh fuel in it and see how we go, giving it some pulls over. Right, so we've topped up the fuel, got the air filter back on. I've bolted the fuel tank back in because you don't need that back off anymore. Got it switched on, got the choke on, got the fuel on, throttle, that's full throttle, so we'll give it, I'll tell you what, let's just give it full throttle, see what happens. The cap is not actually done right up, just in case that is an issue. We got oil. We had a decent spark. I've put a new spark plug in, new air filter in, so you know, we've kind of done what we had to do. The oil looked really clean and everything like that, so you know, if this doesn't work, then maybe the spark's not high enough, or maybe we need to strip the carburetor down. We haven't done this screw cap here, and there was fuel flowing out, so there's fuel that's getting into there, which is good. So it should fire, hopefully, as long as there's no other big issues with it. So, alright, let's give this a go. take the carb off, see what state that's in, see if it's blocked or not. Don't think it is, could be the on and off switch is dodgy. Right, let's have a look. Right, this is the float. The bowl. Not the worst ever seen, but nonetheless. Like sand. Right, okay, so there you can see there around here as well. See, like a sandy material. So we need to clean all this out. I'm pretty sure I can pull the jets out of the carb and we'll clean them out and see what's going on with it. Hopefully it gets good. Right, so hopefully you can see that that carb is no good. You can get in a bit closer, hopefully you can see that. So it's pretty much just filled with silt, sand, grit, you name it. Try to clean it out, try to get a screwdriver in there and pull that jet out, but no, that's not budging. That's absolutely completely solid. So got a new carb on the way for this. It looks to be an original. You see there, sure enough who made the originals, made in Japan. So I'm not entirely sure how old this Wacker is. If anyone knows, give us a shout, drop us a comment or something. But yeah, hopefully it's just something very simple, we can get it running. I've just literally real makeshift to stop the fuel coming out. But yeah, I'll just double check that because I've got to leave it now for probably a week until I get the carb. But yeah, once we get the carb, then we'll get back on it. So one thing I've noticed is the air filter we've been sent is wrong, hence why I was struggling a little bit in the video. So this is supposed to be for a GX 160 engine, which is what this is. As you can see, it's too big, so I'll be sending that one back for us. You can see I've just sort of put it roughly back together. Okay, so as you can remember, we was looking for a non-starting fault with this Wacker plate. I made a boo-boo buying it, but luckily we got over it. Anyway, so story goes, we put new carb on it. We tried everything to try and get it to fire. Eventually we did get it to fire, and it did run for about 30 minutes or so. Unfortunately, the very nice person who we bought this off had put oil down into the chamber, so which gave it the impression that it had compression in the engine, which soon burnt off, and then we couldn't get it started again. So no compression in the engine was toast. So what we've basically done is replace the engine on this. It's actually a 2019 engine that's now gone onto this. Really nice now, starts on the button. I'm not going to start it now because it's noisy and I've got the fuel drained out of it because I'm not using it at the moment. But yeah, as you can see, obviously it's a very different sort of engine. Complete engine went straight onto it, and it's worked fine. We've used it for several hours, put some hours on the clock onto it, ran 2 or 3 tanks of fuel through it, and yeah, it's absolutely spot on. Runs really nice now. I'll bring you in. You can see. So yeah, it's we thought originally it was a GX160 engine. It wasn't. As soon as we got the fuel tank out and everything like that, we found it was a GX120 engine. This is a GX120 engine. It's gone onto it on the Honda. We just haven't got the badge. I've got to stick the stickers on there to say that it is a Honda, but it is a genuine Honda engine. Obviously, as you can see, it's much of the very similar to the previous engine. But yeah, it's a GX engine, and as we all know, GX engines are probably the best in the game. So, but yeah, a little bit of a pain. Luckily, we got the Wacker plate really cheap, really cheap. So all in, it didn't cost us a lot. It's probably sort of half the price of what if we had bought like a working used one in the same sort of condition, with obviously a good engine. We've got like a lot newer engine on it now anyway. So yeah. We're happy with that. Runs and does everything it needs to do, which is good. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video.